Long before metal, before the bow, before anything we'd easily recognize as a weapon, our ancestors faced a simple problem. How do you kill something that is faster, stronger, and better armed than you are? The answer wasn't brute force, it was engineering. Early humans didn't outmuscle predators or prey, they outthought them, turning ordinary stones and sticks into the first tools of offense. This transformation from rock to razor-edged weapon took hundreds of thousands of years, and it's one of the most important stories in our species' survival. So let's ask the obvious question: how did it actually happen? It started with something almost embarrassingly simple: the hammerstone. Around 3 million years ago, early hominins realized that striking one rock against another could split it, creating a sharp edge. This is called percussion flaking, and it's the foundation of nearly all early weapon technology. The resulting flakes weren't spears or axes yet, they were cutting tools useful for slicing hide or scraping meat off bones that predators had left behind. But a sharp edge is a sharp edge, and it doesn't take a genius to notice that something that cuts flesh after death could also cut flesh before it. That conceptual leap from butchery tool to weapon was the real beginning. The next major leap was the handheld stone axe, sometimes called a biface, because it's worked on both sides to form a point. These appear starting around 1.7 million years ago with Homo erectus, and they mark a shift in ambition. A biface could be thrown, jabbed, or used to butcher large animals quickly, which mattered enormously if you were competing with hyenas and big cats for the same carcass. Modern experiments with replica hand axes show they're surprisingly effective at close range, capable of causing serious injury to an animal or defending against one. This was no longer just about processing food. It was about controlling dangerous encounters. But the true revolution was distance. Getting close to a woolly rhino or a cave lion with a handheld rock is a short-term strategy at best. The solution was the spear, a straightened wooden shaft, sometimes fire-hardened for durability, with a sharpened point. Wooden spears dating back around 300,000 years have been found at sites like Schöningen in Germany, and they show remarkable craftsmanship, carefully balanced like a modern javelin. This tells us early humans understood aerodynamics through trial and error long before they understood the physics behind it. A thrown spear meant you could strike from meters away, turning a deadly gamble into a calculated risk. Attaching a stone point to that wooden shaft was the next breakthrough, and it's harder than it sounds. You need a point sharp enough to penetrate hide, a shaft strong enough not to snap, and a way to bind the two together that survives the shock of impact. Early humans solved this with resin, plant fibers, and sinew, essentially inventing composite technology. This mattered because a stone-tipped spear could puncture far more effectively than a fire-hardened wooden tip. Evidence of hafting, meaning the attachment of stone points to handles, appears in the archaeological record by around 500,000 years ago, and it fundamentally changed what hunting parties could take on. This is also where cooperation became a weapon in itself. A lone hunter with a spear against a mammoth is not a fair fight, no matter how sharp the point. But a coordinated group, using terrain, noise, and multiple thrown spears from different angles, could bring down animals many times their size. Anthropologists studying surviving hunter-gatherer societies see this pattern repeatedly. Weapons only reach their full potential when combined with strategy, communication, and trust between hunters. The tool made the kill possible. The social structure made it survivable. Neither one alone would have been enough against Ice Age megafauna. Eventually, some populations pushed distance technology even further with spear throwers and, much later, the bow and arrow, allowing a hunter to strike from far outside an animal's reach entirely. But the core idea never changed from that very first cracked stone. Identify a problem, shape a material to solve it, and refine the design through repetition. Each generation passed on not just the tool, but the knowledge of how to make it, which is arguably the more important invention. That chain of transmitted skill, spear to spear, hand to hand, is why humans went from scavenging leftovers to becoming one of the most effective hunters the planet has ever seen. By the time we reached the last ice age, early humans had moved from simple sharpened sticks to finely tuned, multi-part weapon systems built through careful trial, error, and teaching. It's easy to think of these as primitive compared to what came later, but each innovation, flaking, hafting, fire hardening, the spear thrower, the bow, represents a genuine solution to a real survival problem. These weren't lucky accidents. They were the product of observation, experimentation, and patience laid down over hundreds of thousands of years. In a very real sense, the first weapons weren't just tools for hunting animals, they were some of the earliest evidence of human problem-solving itself.